Hello, everybody. I am Sean Wonders, and this is the life of Jacob Bernoulli. So, in his childhood, we're going to start off with a bit of a mystery here. See, in my sources, I've acquired two different dates for his date of birth. So, I'm going to say he was either born January 6th, 1655, or he was born December 27th, 1654, in Basel, Switzerland. He died August 16th, 1705, but I'll get onto that later. Bernoulli's parents were Nicholas and Margaretha Bernoulli. The Bernoulli family was originally from Holland, but the family had to escape due to religious persecution. Holland was under Spanish control, and the Roman Catholic Church was persecuting anyone who opposed Spanish rule or believed in practice of other religions. Since the Bernoulli family was Protestant, his parents decided it'd be best to move to Switzerland to avoid imprisonment or even death. So his family, they weren't poor or anything. They were a middle-class family. Both of his parents were respected and important citizens in Basel. Bernoulli's father was the owner of a spice business in Basel, which had been passed down previously from his father. Also, his father was a member of the town council, and he was a magistrate. Jacob's mother came from a very distinguished family of bankers and counselors. He had a younger brother named Johann Bernoulli, and he was 12 years older than his younger brother. So before Jacob Bernoulli became one of the most recognized mathematicians of Europe, his parents pressured him into studying philosophy and theology. But the problem was he absolutely hated those subjects. So his true passion was in mathematics and astronomy. So he ended up listening to his parents and actually going through with education in philosophy and theology and getting a master's degree in philosophy in 1671. 5 years later, he was awarded with a licentiate in theology. So while he was studying this, he was also studying mathematics and astronomy, but kind of kept it in secret from his parents. You see, Jacob was the first in his family to study mathematics, and after him, it kind of began a trend in his family. Two of the most recognized mathematicians that were relatives of Jacob were his brother and his nephew Daniel. Both of them followed in his footsteps into the math field. They also went into math despite their parents' efforts to force them to study anything else. After Jacob obtained his licentiate in theology, he decided to travel around Europe in a search to learn about the most recent discoveries made by scientists in the field of mathematics and astronomy. So during this trip, he went to Geneva first, where he took a job as a tutor, and then after staying there for a while, he went on to France, and that's where he studied with the followers of Descartes. And a year before his trip ended, he went to his ancestral land of Holland. And when he was there, he met numerous mathematicians. So then he went to England, where he met Boyle and Hooke, also very important mathematicians. This trip was very successful for him. He learned lots about mathematics and also astronomy. So a little fun fact, I guess, is that he also kept in touch with a lot of these mathematicians, so that could have helped him a lot in his previous or accomplishments to come. So eventually he did come back home to Switzerland in 1683. And that's once he got back, he obtained a job as a lecturer in mechanics at the University of Basel, which is the same university that he graduated from. And even though even though Jacob Bernoulli had a licentiate in theology, he ended up rejecting an appointment from the church due to his superior interest in mathematics and theoretical physics. Bernoulli was not only working as a lecturer, but his hunger and passion for mathematics made him study and explore for more and more. At this time, Bernoulli was studying recent mathematician work, including the work of Descartes, geometry, Van Schooten, Wallis, and Barrow. A year after working with at Basel, he became married to Judith Stupanus. He had 2 kids. One was named Nicholas after his father, and also had a daughter, but I wasn't able to find her name. So his younger brother Johann asked him to teach him mathematics, and this was a very big turning point in his career, because this kind of brought him to a more serious state with math, and it brought him to more of a competitive level, because when his brother came to him to learn math, they were working together. They were a great team, and they were studying calculus, and from there they kind of got too competitive, and jealousy of each other and jealousy of who would get the most credit for what they were accomplishing began to get in the way of their relationship as brothers. So as time went on, their relationship just deteriorated, and they ended up, the relationship completely vanished when Johann moved to Holland in 1695. Jacob kept studying in mathematical concepts. Now I'd say it's time to get back to Jacob with his contributions. Some of the most significant concepts in his career are the pamphlets on the parallels of logic and algebra and his work on probability. These pamphlets were published in the year 1685. Another great contribution to the mathematical field was his work on infinite series and his law of large numbers in probability theory. A large number that Bernoulli discovered states that when a random experiment is repeated many times, the result average should be the same as expected, or probability average. So as you go on and complete the experiment more and more times, it should become into that probability that is predicted before, rather than the first few times. But I'll get on to that later. He also had a study in geometry that gave his construction to divide any triangle into 4 equal parts with 2 perpendicular lines. And he also came up with the Bernoulli equation. It's a very complicated equation. What you see on the screen right here is just basically the most simplified version of it, and it's just adding on to his probability theory of large numbers. And in order to help you guys out a little bit, I'm going to show this video here about his law of large numbers, and I think that will help you to understand exactly what it is. So I might as well play that now.
Simulation of the law of large numbers. So as a probability experiment is performed many times, the law of large numbers states that the observed value, usually a mean, will arrive at the expected value. So imagine a probability experiment where a coin is flipped and the number of heads is measured. If you flip a coin, the probability of getting heads is 1 out of 2, or about 0.50. There's a 50% chance that you will get heads. So here's some data that I've just simulated. I have 10 trials, and for each trial I flipped a coin and then recorded my results. So you can see that after the first trial, out of one flip we got 1 heads, so that means we got 100% heads. After the second trial we got another heads, so 2 out of 2, we're at 100%. After the third trial, we get a tail, so that means out of 3 flips, we only got 2 heads, so now we're down to 0.66. As we perform more and more of these probability experiments, you can see we get closer and closer to the expected value of 0.50. This is best represented in a graph like this, where at the beginning we have some more extreme values, but on a long enough timeline, we will actually reach our expected value. If you had an infinite number of probability experiments, you would expect the observed value to be exactly equal to the expected value, according to the law of large numbers.
So, so that's basically a pretty good explanation of the law of large numbers, and I'd say that's about it for Jacob Bernoulli. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day.